My dear friends, I hope this finds you well. Some weeks when I'm looking for a topic to cover in these videos, the subject comes to me almost immediately. At the beginning of the week, I know exactly what I'm going to talk about. And some weeks it's a struggle. This was one of those weeks. It was very hard for me to think about what it was that I wanted to share. I think especially with the weight of all the different things that are going on in the world this past week with the terrible tragedy in Poway, California. And of course, with Yom HaShoah, there's so much to address and so much to talk about and so much that really demands an answer. But yet here I am struggling to find the words and maybe in some way that is appropriate, because we don't always have the answers in life. We don't always have something meaningful to say. Sometimes we kind of have to just sit with what is. I think that this is actually powerfully communicated in our parsha. Our parsha, Acharei Mot, it talks about after the death of the sons of Aaron. It talks about the Kohanim, the work of the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur. But it's quite strange that this parsha is Acharei Mot, that after the death of the sons of Aaron, because in truth, if it was, why wasn't this parsha, what we learned about in this parsha, included, several parshiot ago in Parshat Shmini, when we talk about the death of Nadav and Avihu, the sons of Aaron, right? In Parshat Shmini, we learn about the death of Nadav and Avihu. They offered a strange fire. They die. And at that point, why don't we then bring up the laws that are mentioned in this week's parsha, which discuss how a Kohen can go into the Beit Hamikdash and when, and discusses the work of Yom Kippur. So why is there this gap of several parshiot which deal with various different laws? It talks about the laws of kashrut. It talks about different forms of ritual impurity. So there's this big gap. And what is the purpose behind this gap? Now, there are many commentaries who deal with this question. And I'm going to suggest an alternative answer. It's not pshat, but I'm hoping that it can give us some insight and maybe something meaningful to think about in light of all the different things that are going on. After Aaron's sons died, he was told of their death, and his response was silence. Vayidom Aaron. He really had nothing to say. He was shocked. He was broken, and he sat with their pain. In many ways, it would almost be inappropriate in the kind of moving out of that tragedy to then address it once again and to talk about how you then move forward. You have to sit with that pain. You have to sit with the tragedy. You have to sit and contemplate and just be present with what is. But when there is a bit of space, when there is a bit of time that in between the tragedy and it's behind us a little bit, then you can begin to move forward and to build. And so the Torah gives us a bit of a gap. We learn about the death of the sons, and there's a gap which deals with related mitzvot, which can be discussed another time as how they are related. But it's only now, a little bit later, when the dust is settled, that we go back into Acharei Mot after the death of the sons of Aaron, where Aaron now is commanded to go into the holiest of holies and to offer the sacrifices on Yom Kippur. And so what this teaches us is the importance of sitting with what is, of giving pain and grief their space. And it's only with that time then we can actually have an adequate answer. And what is that answer? That answer is what Aaron did. He took his grief, he took his pain, and he invested into the service of purifying the Jewish people, of elevating the Jewish people, of working hard. And that must be our response now. And in light of in response to what happened this past week in Poway, in response to all the darkness that's in this world, our collective response must be, okay, you know what? Give the pain its space, give the tragedy its space, give grief its space. But when we're ready, let us join forces together to build, to unite, to build bridges, to learn, to deepen our connection to Judaism, to bring people closer, to healing relationships. Let's build, let's work together, let's do this together. And so please, God, let's internalize the beautiful messages that are in our Torah, and may they allow us to heal this world, to fix this world, and to bring light into the world, and bring us to that time of harmony and peace and redemption for all of humanity. Shabbat Shalom.